My next guest is very, very unique. I actually purposely was looking for an IFBB female pro. However, she is not only an IFBB pro, she's also an architect, and first and foremost, she's an artist. Cari Soledad, welcome to Lysanderland.
Caridad, Sola.
Caridad, Sola.
Everyone does that. It's hilarious that you did it. Everyone makes my last name and my first name, they combine it. So it's Caridad, Sola. You said Cari Soledad. You're not the first person to do that.
I'm sorry.
You can even keep that in the video.
Well,
everyone does it, and it's hilarious.
I was gonna say Caridad Sola, but yeah. I was remember when we first met, I was worried about rolling my R's, and I just didn't want to.
You did a good job, though.
Yeah, and you're like, just call me Cari. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, I can do that. So, let me get a sip of my tea here. So, tell me about your journey. Let's start with the IFBB Pro stuff first, because I'm sort of on my journey, and I always thought a female perspective was really neat. Like, I don't think they get as much grander than the men do, and but I know the training is as intense, if not more, and you're really fighting. Tell me about that journey.
We're fighting not just physically, but just genetics in general, because females aren't meant to be so muscular. Well, I'll tell you how it all started. My sister likes to say that I literally woke up one day and bumped my head and decided to do this, because I never did any sports. I mean, I tried and I sucked. I was actually a scorekeeper just to feel like I was part of the team. Didn't want to lift weights because I didn't want to get bulky. Those words literally came out of my mouth in my 20s. So I was like a cardio bunny. I thought I was eating healthy by having 100 calorie snacks and shit like that. Like, it was definitely not healthy or really nutritious. Let's call it that way. Let's see what else. And then even in high school, I was able to convince the counselors to not require me to take PE, which in the States, that's physical education, where you go outside and do things. So in other words, I was not into fitness at all, right? And then I started to admire the fit physiques. And at the time I was looking at bikini bodies. In bodybuilding, let me explain this for some people who don't know, there's different categories. Bikini is more of a beach body look, some muscle tone, not too much. Figure's the next step, where you have a little bit of more muscle, a little bit leaner, still very feminine, let's call it. Then you have women's physique, which is a little bit more muscle, or much more muscle, I guess you could say. You do different mandatory poses, so you get to show your physique more. And then is women's bodybuilding. So actually, in between, there is fitness, which is where you do, I would say, like acrobatic things. So that's a unique category, which is close to the figure body type. So at the time, I never actually idealized the bodybuilders, didn't like that look. Never wanted to be too muscular, but then I really just got addicted to the training. For me, it was therapy. So let's back up a little bit more. So one day I inquired about it. I asked a friend of mine who was a competitor. I was like, I would love to do that one day. And she was like, you totally could. Just get a coach, in 3 months, you'll be ready. You diet and you do it. And I was like, really? I guess maybe I could do it. Talked to my boyfriend at the time, and he was all about it too. He was like, you totally could do it. Let's do it. So I hired a coach, and then that's how the journey began. Oh, but it's important to say, in my early 20s, when I was at University of Miami, I remember doing probably the Stairmaster at the time, or the elliptical, God knows what. And some jerk at the gym who did not have an incredible physique at all said to me, because I was looking at a fitness magazine, and I don't know if he was trying to flirt and by being mean, I don't know. But he goes, oh, you could never look like that. And that really stuck in my head. And because I'm Cuban, we tend to be very curvy and hold our weight in our bottoms. And I was like, there's no way I can make this Cuban ass look like a competitor booty, right? So I really believed that. And then that fast forward probably a few years, then that's when those two people, all it took was them to say, yeah, you could, to then for me to believe in myself. And then I did it. So that was bikini. Then as you get more into it, you kind of idealize the other categories. You realize, wow, this is the stepping stone. And if you really like to train and you start to enjoy building muscle, it only makes sense to go up in the ranks, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I got into it.
So you're a physique competitor?
Yes, women's physique. And then I also tried doing bodybuilding for the first time. So last year was my first pro season, and I crossed over into women's bodybuilding because two of my coaches were thinking that maybe, actually not two of them, one of them was thinking that perhaps I'm getting that I'm being, what's how you say it? I was being discounted points because of my muscularity. Can't speak.
Okay.
Basically, also, I don't have a very narrow waist. Just genetically, I'm a little bit wider compared to some of the other genetic freaks who have like a tiny little waist.
Yeah.
So when you compared me to the winner in women's physique, I had more muscle tone, but I also was a little bit wider, which tends to then I would do better in women's bodybuilding. But now in women's bodybuilding, I feel like a shrimp because these girls are massive, you know. So women's bodybuilding is actually the range of physiques is very wide. I almost feel they should put weight classes, like a weight, heavyweight, because it's funny that they're not really rewarding towards the big mass monsters anymore. They still want a very aesthetic look. Yeah. So as long as you keep that waist somewhat tight, I feel like you could do well. It's really when you get a little bit too blown out, those physiques aren't getting rewarded. So to answer your question, I'm not sure if I'm going to be women's physique or women's bodybuilding next season when I do compete, because ultimately I have to wait to see when I shred down. Right now I'm bulking or in the off season, so I've got like a good 30 to 40 pounds I got to lose just to get shredded, to see where I land, where I think I might be rewarded best or fit best. Yeah.
How long have you been doing it in total?
2013, so almost 8 years.
Wow. And every year do you go through the whole bulking, cutting phase?
Yeah, the first couple of years I was really scared. I mean, that's the thing. When people approach me and tell me they want to do this, I don't actually recommend it. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I feel like the sacrifices, you really got to love it and really want to do it and enjoy the process, because the sacrifices that you put in place may not be worth it to most people. Even with me, I have a challenge understanding, like, is a sacrifice worth it? Really, for me, it's the social life that I'm sacrificing. And then since I've always been very like an overachiever and a homebody and a loner, it was easy for me to do this. But to answer your question about every season, because I'm digressing there, once you get that shredded for a show, it's very hard to basically allow yourself or to see yourself become into a healthy body again. So as a woman, it's not healthy to stay that lean for very long, right? So if depends on what percentage it is, but let's just say even like 8% body fat or 10%. I mean, for a bikini, you might be more like 15% because you don't really get that shredded. You lose your period, you're moody, your body is hungry, all the hormones are out of whack. So I always tell people, listen, if you're going to do it, that's great. However, know what you're getting yourself into. So psychologically, it might be difficult for you after the show. Everyone teaches you or shows you what to do leading up to a show. A lot of coaches don't actually coach you after a show. So the point is you really need to start increasing your calories, putting on a little bit of body fat, and embracing and loving your body in the non-competition shape. And that's a big challenge for a lot of people when they first start off. I still struggle with it. I mean, every year gets easier. This year was easier probably because I had so much stuff going on in my life that I was just like, I don't care, whatever. I gain weight, like it's life, also in my 40s, I'm like, I know I could lose it again, and I know it's part of the process. And if I want to grow, you have to eat more. It's the only way. So yeah, to answer your question, every year there is that cycle where it's basically let's say you shred for a show for like 20 weeks. You have your competition. You might have more than one competition. By the time you're done, you call it a day for that year. And then you slowly increase your calories and you slowly decrease your cardio. And then that's when you actually start enjoying lifting again. Because when you are getting ready for a show, as you get closer to a show, you hate the gym. You do not want to be there. You do not want to be dieting anymore. You're miserable. And so the good part about the off season is you go because you want to go and you enjoy it. rather than, oh, I have to go, or, oh, I got to go do 2 hours of cardio. Oh, I got to go lift today. When you just want to lay in bed.
Are you doing 2 hours?
There's a lot of challenges with both.
Are you doing the 2 hours of cardio straight? Like straight 2 hours?
No, I don't have endurance. I cannot do that. I don't know how people do marathons. I would do either, like 45, or an hour. As I was getting closer to the show, I noticed that my blood sugar would drop like at the 40-minute mark, and I couldn't continue. So I started like maybe doing like 40, or getting close to the 2 hours, as long as you're getting near that range. I mean, it depends on the body type. Some people can get away with doing 30 minutes of cardio. I'm the kind of person that when you start off with prep, it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then it's like maybe 2 30-minute sessions. Then, little by little we increase. And for me, the most I've done is 2 hours. I know some people who've done 3 hours, and I don't know how they do it. Like, it already sucks up so much of your time, but you're just physically exhausted. So it's.
I can relate to that. My wife and I we're on our last day of we do the Apple ring competitions together or against each other.
I know because I don't have the Apple Watch, but you have rings, right?
Yeah, we have the rings. Yeah. So it's whoever can get, at the end of the day, you compete. And then at the end of the day, you've got 600 points that you have to get as close to. I kick her ass every time. I need to. So I either need to increase my not increase my calories on my watch. So instead of right now, she's got hers set to 450. I've got mine set to 6. I'm thinking next week I'm probably going to increase it to 750. And then her exercise is set to 30 minutes. Mine is set to 45. And it's interesting that you said 45 minutes of cardio at a time, because that's what I'm actually doing. I wake up, I do my first 45 minutes of cardio, fasted, then I do it again. Then I work a little bit. I go in the afternoon, I do it again. Actually, and I have all my own equipment downstairs. So
perfect.
Yeah, and then I do weights in the afternoon.
It's easier when you break it up.
Yeah, much easier.
Yeah. And then it breaks up your day. Like, you don't want to be at work sitting on your computer the whole time. So it's like, oh, let me go do some activity.
Yeah. So, and that was the other thing. Can we touch on diet just a little bit?
Yeah.
Are you doing the 6 meals a day kind of thing? Is that still?
Yeah. My brother likes to say I eat 17 meals a day. But it's not. It's usually like 5 to 6. As I get close to your show, it's probably like 5, maybe with a little snack, like a protein shake.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even think growing up I was a 3 meal a day person. I was always a grazer. I always liked to snack. And I eat out of anxiety. So I may not actually be hungry. I'm like, oh, let me just nibble on something. So anxiety is not a good thing when you're dieting at all.
Is it calories in, calories out plus protein intake, or is it?
Yes. So I've never counted. Well, I guess take that. In the past, I've counted calories, but all of the meal plans that I've gotten now from coaches, it's always been kind of like macro based.
Yeah.
So I just do whatever they tell me the plan. So it might be like 5 ounces of, chicken, fish, or, whatever else, turkey or steak. And then the carb source will vary on where you are with the prep and how you're progressing and what your body can handle.
Yeah.
I've been on very low carb diets before, and I think I do well on them. But my last coach had me having a good amount of carbs, So starting off a prep might be a cup of carbs. I mean, not with every meal, but maybe like 3 out of the 5. And veggies always.
Yeah.
And then that went down to like half a cup of carbs. So I always had some type of carbs there to help me push the weights in the gym or just to function in life.
Yeah.
But then like the week before a show, you do a depletion diet where like those carbs go away and you're just like making sure you burn all that glycogen in your muscles so that when you go to basically carb up, it just soaks it all up. So there's a whole science behind the whole carving up process.
Do you do any sort of fasting at all?
No, I am very cranky when I'm hungry. You don't want to see me. I get hangry. So dieting is hard enough. I mean, the most I'll fast is maybe 12 hours because that's pretty much because I slept, right? Yeah. So let's say I ate, 8 to 8. That's not really fasting, right? Or so no. But I have done fasted cardio. If I wake up early enough, I could do it. But if I wake up later and then I do my cardio fasted, forget it. I'm already ravenous by then. So it depends.
That's something I started doing very, very recently. Recently. Like when I was dancing, I was doing probably 5-6 meals a day, very high protein. And then as I got older, last January, I was almost 300 pounds, 296 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And then very recently I started doing a lot of the fasting. So I've done the 2-day fast and I really didn't.
2 days. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I'm drinking a lot of broth. Do you eat beets?
Meats?
Beet.
Or beets?
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, did I tell you the horror story on beets before? I don't know if I did. I like beets.
Yeah.
I had a friend who basically thought they were bleeding from their colon.
Yeah.
And got all these tests done because I guess his poop was red.
Yes.
And if you eat too many beets, it hasn't happened to me before. I don't eat that many beets. I do like them. If I was like in the off season, I could have cheese, like beets with like a little bit of like goat cheese salad. I mean, that's delicious.
So I make a beet broth. So when it's harvest season up here, last year I bought 200 pounds worth of beets, and I sliced them up. I did them a couple different ways. So the really small ones I parboiled, and then I put them in Ziploc bags and froze them. The medium-sized ones I cut them in the quarters, parboiled them, froze them. And then the bigger ones I actually sliced up. I put them in a dehydrator, and then I put all those in Ziploc bags, and I make a beet broth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never tried a beet broth.
I don't know what. So the way I do it, like I'll take either the frozen stuff or the dehydrated stuff, put it in water in a big soup pot. If it's a frozen stuff, I'll thaw it, and then I'll put it through the shredder. Put all that into water, a teeny bit of salt, some spices for taste. And I don't know what it is about it, but I feel great.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a nitric.
I wonder like what the nutrient value of like what it's high in. That's probably what's helping you.
Well, I know
it's filling.
It's super high in nitric oxide. So I get really good pumps even on a 2-day fast. It's like liquid Viagra. I tell you what.
Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah. Really good stuff. Yeah. Really good stuff.
More people need to know about this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a big speaker for Beets.
It's so funny you say it. So I'm now a huge promoter for the CPAP machine. I don't know. Do you know what that is for sleep apnea?
I have one. Yes. I use it.
So me too. I mean, it's not cute. I'll admit it. I don't care though. Like, I didn't believe it. The first week, I was like, this shit's not working. I almost quit. And then I was like, no, Cari, you have to do it. I mean, I was diagnosed with severe obstructive sleep apnea. I was having 69 events per hour. That means every minute I wasn't breathing. Like, no wonder I was exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought it was from the training. You know, I never really got headaches. I've been lucky. I'm very rarely get headaches. And when I do, they annoy me because I'm not used to having them. I wasn't getting headaches. I was just super fatigued. I would wake up exhausted no matter how much I slept. I could sleep 12 hours and still be exhausted. I was like, what is wrong? And I thought maybe, with my going to this later, I thought it was my autoimmune disease of ankylosing spondylitis. Maybe it's that. I thought maybe it was overtraining or the adrenal fatigue or so many things to cause fatigue or just, thyroid hormone. There's so many things that it could be it. And ever since I've been using it, my brother says he wants to unplug me. He can't stand the amount of energy I have now. He's like, will you stop already? It's like midnight. I'm still cleaning. I'm putting things away. Like it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. I feel like I'm in my 20s again. Like I used to have so much energy before, and then it's changed my life. So
before you got it, were you still training before you got it?
I always snort. I don't know because I never knew when it started. I do know that everyone's complained that I've snored probably from my 30s on, but which is before I started training. And then I thought I was always getting congested, and I thought maybe that's why I snored. Mm-hmm. So I got the deviated septum surgery done, and it helped with my snoring a little bit. I was always getting sinus infections because of it. And then it's helped in that sense, but the sleep apnea just got worse. And actually it's way worse during prep. I would wake up probably 10 times in the middle of the night. Every night. And now it's only once, maybe to go pee or something. But other than that, it's such a game changer.
I love it.
I don't even know how I grew muscle because sleep is so important to grow. That's when you grow, repair, heal. And so maybe I'll make even more improvements now that I'm using it. So we'll see.
How long have you been using it for now?
I want to say maybe 2 months or a month and a half. So it's still very new.
Man,
Yeah.
you're still
I'm still
discovering
recovering.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, you're gonna love it. Like
Yeah, maybe 2 months.
even afternoon naps, I put it
Really?
on. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Well,
out
now
right
I
away.
not take a nap anymore. Before I was napping all the time, and I was like, "This is so weird. I never napped in my entire life."
Yeah.
And I was napping or falling asleep. I mean, driving, forget about it. If I was doing a long distance, I would like have to slap myself because I would start to get sleepy. And then the way I realized it was working before, let's say it's the end of the day, you're watching a movie, you put it on, but like within the first minute of the movie, I would knock out. And my brother would be like, "Well, I'm glad we're watching this together." And
Nice.
now I don't fall asleep at all. So I'm like, wow, it's working. It's definitely working.
Are you sensitive to smells?
Super sensitive to smells.
You are. Hey, okay.
Is there
no okay, so sometimes the air intake, I'll put a little bit of lavender oil on a piece of Kleenex, and then I'll tape it. Right? Yeah, I'll tape that to the air intake. Or I don't know what you wash it with. They recommend dish soap, but I take Bonner's it's like a liquid soap. Okay. And I water it down and make a foaming soap, and that's what I wash it with.
Oh, okay.
So when I put it on, yeah, if you like lavender and it's not too over for you, then
try it. I noticed that I'm one of those people I can't stand candles or incense. Forget about it. Like shoot. Oh, yeah. In fact, at my gym, they haven't done it in a while, but they kept putting on incense, and I'm like, we're trying to breathe in the gym. Why are you choking me? It would infuriate me. But actually, ever since COVID, because I did have it during Christmas and New Year's.
No shit.
My smell is not right. I still, and when I eat, everything still. I mean, I lost it completely during COVID. It took me about, I want to say, a month and a half to get it back. But it's still, things are still kind of bland. I have to put like extra salt to just taste it. It's really weird. I need to do some research. I mean, my sister-in-law knows of something I should take that will help bring it all back fully. But like things just smell different. Like my brother's cleans with Clorox, and I think it's vinegar. It's like the weirdest thing. So yeah,
he'll clean it with bleach, and it smells like vinegar to you.
Yeah. Let's say he cleans the floors with some bleach because we have 4 dogs and they love to do little accidents all the time.
Right.
In fact, I'm surprised no one's barking right now. Yeah, everything just smells slightly off, or I don't smell it. Like the dog farted, don't smell it. So it's a blessing. I don't smell the bad stuff, but hopefully I smell the fire.
Yeah. What was that whole process like for you when you got it?
It was super scary. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
yeah.
It's my fault. Like I got it going to the Olympia as a spectator in Orlando. I don't know how many people went and came back with it, but everyone I know that went came back with damn COVID, with maybe the exception of one person. Yeah, because I mean, it's a risk we took. It was a convention with thousands of people, and I'll be honest, nobody was wearing masks. Like, no one cared. And this was back in October when it was still, the vaccines weren't like popular. I don't even know if there was a vaccine then. So, I was guilty in the sense that I got it. Thank God I didn't give it to my brother. I would have felt horrible if I did. And the reason why I bring it up so much, we live together. That's temporary. In 3 weeks, I'll have my own place. Gotcha. But what was I going to say? So I was doing a lot of research to know what to expect. And the more YouTube videos I saw, the more scared I got. Yeah. And I mean, at least I got the little oxygen pulse. Oximeter? Thank you. Yes, that thing. Yep. I kept watching it. And then I noticed no one actually warned me that if you're sleeping, it actually does go below the normal value. So I panicked one day because I was so paranoid. I kept trying it because I couldn't breathe. I had super shortness of breath. So just like feeding the dogs, I was like so out of breath. And that's what terrified me, because before I got diagnosed with it, I was already complaining of like asthma-like symptoms. It's gone away. I don't know what's up with my body. But sometimes I thought maybe it was anxiety. I noticed like even going to work, I would feel like I couldn't breathe properly. And then sometimes I would talk and feel like I was running out of breath. And I was like, something's not right here. So I made an appointment to see a doctor for a lung function test, and then I got COVID. So I had to postpone that. So to answer your question, COVID was very scary because at night I would panic when I was laying down and I felt congestion and pressure and I couldn't breathe. And the more you think you can't breathe, the more you panic. And it's like, that's when you have like a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I was very lucky. Didn't have to go to the hospital. That was just my biggest fear. If I have to go to the hospital and get like incubated, I mean, I was just praying to God. And I knew that you can feel like you're doing good. And then about the 8-day mark, that's when shit goes bad. So as I was getting closer to that day, like 8 to 10, I was like, oh my God, it could happen any day now. You could feel great. And then all of a sudden you can't breathe. So, and I was alone too. So that sucked. So everyone left the house. Everyone left me there to basically deal with the shit on my own.
Yeah.
It was scary. I can't have to admit, but then eventually I recovered. And I would say it took about a month to feel like I could breathe good again. So even though I no longer had COVID, respiratory wise, I was still struggling a bit, but now I'm good.
What's the recovery process over there? Is it they swab you again and then?
Well, it's funny. I wanted to get retested just for work and just to be able to see my mom, who's elderly and has dementia.
Yeah.
And really, actually, my brother wouldn't move back until I got the 2 negatives. So the old like it's not legislation, but the guideline was to get 2 negative results after you've tested positive.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to work. The new guideline when I had it was they don't want people to retest again because a lot of people are getting false positives because after the 10 to 14 days, if you've no longer had any symptoms without the use of Tylenol or anything like that, then you don't have to get retested is what they say. You're good to go. You can go out in the world. No need. But I did it anyways, just in case. The first time I got tested, it was still positive. I was like, damn it. It was like at the 14 or 16 day mark. By the 18th or 20th day, I was already negative. So that all worked out good.
This is a really, really unique situation that we're all in. Because it affects everybody differently. And that's why I asked about your experience. One of the guys I've met, William Hung, he, out of everyone I've met, sounds like he had it other than dying, it sounds like he had it the worst, right? With the massive headaches, confined to his bed. And then I had another friend who got a sniffle and that was it.
Oh, yeah. Or some people don't even know they have it.
Yeah.
No
symptoms.
I didn't mention I was extremely exhausted. I'm not the kind of person just lay in bed. I just laid on the couch and binge watched the entire time. I'm not the kind of person to do that.
Yeah.
Super, super tired. And then I'm always hungry. Even when I'm sick, I still eat. I lost my appetite and I found that I only wanted to eat like really fatty, not healthy things. Because when you have no appetite, like what are you gonna eat? Like there was no way I could eat chicken and broccoli. Like there was way. So just to get some calories in, I ate shitty, but at least I didn't lose weight. There's a lot of people who lose a ton of weight on it.
Yeah. That's really neat.
I'm glad I did it.
Let's switch gears a little bit here. So were you tell me about what it's like to be an architect. You've got 5 degrees. Are they all in architecture?
So one is specifically architecture. It's a Bachelor of Architecture.
Yeah.
I have to start from the beginning. I've got 2 bachelors, one in fine art and one in architecture. It's a 5-year program in order to be able to then take your test to get your license.
Yeah.
So, and I did that at University of Miami. I stayed home. My dad wanted me close by, so it all worked out great. And then I had the itch to go to New York. Well, I guess I always wanted to live in New York City. And then I applied. It's funny. I applied to 9 different schools, graduate programs for fine art. Of course, my dad was like, "What are you doing?" I was already working as an architect in a local firm here, one of the biggest ones in Miami, and he was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna stop your career to go study art, like, and it's God forbid New York. It's like the place of the devil." I had to beg and cry and kick and scream my way for him to like finally give me his blessing. He probably spoke to everyone in the family and every friend he had, and like, thank God, everyone collectively convinced him, "Hey, this is good for her. Let her get this experience." So I went, and so out of the 9 schools, because it's a very, very difficult program, all of them only take about 10 to 20 students for the Master of Fine Arts program in studio art. And so I got waitlisted at Parsons, and then all the rest were rejections. And like that was I would say, the first time in my life that I felt what rejection felt like. I mean, and it's humbling. Like I realized like, oh shit, like you're not hot shit, And, in high school, we had a great art program, and I did the AP program, and I got a 5 on my score. And I was one of the great artists in high school. And like locally at that age, I'm a kid. And then it was like, oh, like maybe I'm not good. So it definitely messed with their head a little bit. But listen, you know, I got waitlisted to Parson. Eventually, they got me in, and I went. And it's funny, my first year, a B- is considered failing. So I actually got a B- in the studio art class. And then I was just like, another, like, what the hell? Like, it was really difficult. You know, it's art, it's subjective, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
looking back on it now, I realize why I feel like my work was very diverse. You know, I did photography, I did sculpture, I did painting. I'm sure I'm forgetting something here. And then it was not like, I like to explore all different mediums and different subject matters. And in an MFA program, you got to be not narrow-minded, but your body of work needs to be very cohesive. And I little by little basically developed as an artist and found like what I really wanted to create art about and in my little niche. So that's when I started doing installation art, which I'd never done before.
What's that?
Actually, I dabbled. Installation art is basically you transform a space. It's actually very close to architecture in the sense of, you know, architecture, you create spaces. Yeah. In installation art, you also create a space. So you transform a space. In my situation, I like to create a space that you walk into and you experience it. So the art itself is more the experience of the piece rather than a piece that you hang on a wall or put on a podium.
Yes.
It's very hard to sell. That's the hard part about it.
Yeah.
Someone needs to either commission you to create this and you make money that way, or you can sell maybe a video of the piece or artifacts from the piece. It's very ephemeral. So it's only in that moment. And then anything else is really like almost like an artifact of it. So that's what I really enjoyed doing, probably because I was never really into making money, and subconsciously I decided to choose an art that really, really doesn't make money. Now I'm doing more sculpture pieces that can actually, you could sell them individually, but really the stronger work is the installation itself, if that makes any sense. So while I was there, you know, I was still studying for my license, because to be an architect, a licensed architect, there's 9 different exams. Now it's a little different. When I took it, it was 9. And I think I was actually like one of the youngest architects or licensed architects in Florida. I don't know the statistics, but I forgot how old I was, but I was pretty young, maybe 20. How old was I got to check the paperwork. But I was able to do that because at the time I was going to school. I didn't work. Thank God my father really did help me out financially with everything with school, and living in New York City is super expensive. So without that, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But studying, I got my license. And then while I was at school at Parsons, I found 2 certificate programs for something that I felt was more related to my architecture background or to my architecture career. One of them was in construction management or engineering from Columbia University, and another one was in real estate development from NYU. And I started both of them. I never intended to get 3 masters, but these were all credit certificates, and you're able to keep taking classes that can be applied towards the master's. So I was like, well, I'm already here, I might as well keep taking it. And then that's how I ended up with 3 masters. Wow. One from Parsons, one from Columbia University, and the other from New York University.
So do you have your, is your dream home already drawn out? Like,
no, because really it always depends on what size lot you have. Because you're going to design based on the shape of what you can build on and the surroundings, like where is the good view, where is the good light, where is, how big, how wide, how narrow. That changes everything, where the rooms are going to go, where the kitchen's going to go, where, everything. So I do have an idea, because I found this lot of land that I had my eye on now for like 6 months, I want to say. Wow. I found it just riding my bike during cardio for the last prep. And I was like, for sale. And it's a beachfront property. And I was like, how much is this worth? So I looked it up. There's 2 nearby. They're like, each lot is like worth 1.2 million. And then the one that I looked at was like 450,000, maybe 500,000. And I was like, why is it so cheap? I mean, that's a lot of money. You could buy a house for that much. But for beachfront, like South Florida and in Hollywood, which is in like Bumbletucky, it's like a really good area. I was just like, there's got to be something wrong. So now that my dad's house sold, I was like, okay, well, let me look more into this property. I checked the zoning code and I saw, the restrictions. And basically, it's a very small footprint, like 1,000 something per floor, but I can totally make it work. And you can do 3 floors, 33 feet height. And for what I need, it's more than enough. So I'm still like, what's the catch? So I want to make an appointment with the zoning department just to meet with them, make sure I'm reading the legislation right and making sure that it's doable. So the other thing is finding out how much it's going to cost me to build. Okay. There's been a lot of inflation lately, so I don't know what the construction cost per square foot would be. And also it is on the beach. I have to do pylons, and there are certain things that will be expensive.
Price of lumber massively went up.
Yeah, probably concrete too. Who knows?
Yeah.
It'll probably be mostly concrete down here. So what's like being an architect? I mean, it's a very, I just realized something. It's a very male-dominated industry that's slowly changing, and the same thing with bodybuilding. I never consider myself a tomboy, but I never consider myself a girly girl. So I'm just wondering if there's a connection between I chose something that, maybe I've always wanted to be different. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Even in high school, I went to a private school. Everyone was very preppy. Mm-hmm. So of course I wanted to be the opposite. So I was like the gangster chick. So I wonder if I were to have been in a public school with a bunch of gangsters, if I would have been the preppy girl. I don't know. Like, it's just funny how psychologically I've always wanted to be different. Don't know why.
Same. Yeah, no, same. Same. I actually, I just got accepted into a beauty school.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
What are you going to do? You want to do hair and makeup? Or?
Hair. So hair is something I always wanted to do 20 years ago. And I always thought about it. And then with everything that's happened, I took the plunge and I looked into schools. Excuse me. Nice. And a lot of them, when I called, they're like, yeah, we're done. And we're already filled up for September. Oh. And then one of them that I called, lady, the admissions manager was super friendly. Said, yeah, we have 3 programs every year. We can get you into the July one. How's that sound? And this was a couple of weeks ago. So I was like, yeah, giddy up. So I start in July.
What would you do with this?
I have no idea. When I met her, I did a Zoom meeting with her, and I said, I think my hair was down. She's like, wow, you got great hair for a man. And then when I met her in person, she's like, wow, your hair, you have awesome hair. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like the program's does hair, barbering. I'll learn how to do makeup. And this is all really cool for me because now I've got 2 small daughters. So they think it's cool that dad's going to be able to do their hair and I'll be able to do their makeup. And so I'm looking forward to more of that as opposed to the job part, because this is going to be a completely different career switch for me. And I'm pretty happy about that. Like you
get to make people feel beautiful. That's probably what you enjoy. Like, what's rewarding about it. They feel good.
For me,
when you doll them up.
Yeah, for me, it's more of like now I get to do like what I'm doing now with you, right? I get to meet people, but I don't have to. So I've got a sales background, so I can meet people, which is what I enjoy. But I can meet you without having to push anything on you, right? It's more like you're coming to me for something you want done. I can help you with that. Let's just meet and talk.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm looking forward to that. And like you, I get to touch on my artsy creative side.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy about that. With regards to your art, thanks again for sending me. Is it called a portfolio or what was that?
Yeah, I mean, I was calling it a catalog, but it's the same thing. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of really neat pieces in there, and a lot of them, like especially how the princess has got to kiss a ton of frogs before she meets the prince. Yeah, I can relate to that one. Yeah, being male. What's that?
I called it Prince Charming.
Prince Charming, yeah.
For that piece, I wanted to use live frogs. I couldn't nail down logistics on how to control these frogs and also I don't even know if I would be capable of kissing a frog, but I like an actual live one, but I was going to do it. And then I realized, well, some of them are toxic. And then the little ones that aren't toxic, like how do I control them? And it was a huge like convention space where I did that piece. So I had to settle for fake frogs, but maybe one day I'll do it with real frogs. I don't know.
Dude, toys worked out awesome.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
toys
thanks.
worked out perfect for those.
Uh,
Excuse me, sorry. I got my jab a couple days ago,
a
and
jab of.
I got my vaccine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got
you feeling a little coughing?
Yeah, but I mean, I vape too, so I don't know if it's
Okay,
that.
could be that.
But
Yeah.
the night I got it, I was doing some cleaning and I could smell the Javex, and I get really bad headaches when I smell Javex, especially if it's really, really strong. And I've got my downstairs bathroom here. That's what I cleaned it with. So going into that thing, I had a headache
Right.
a couple hours before. So I took an Advil, and I don't know about you, but Advil gives me wicked acid reflux or heartburn.
Really?
Or
No,
whatever.
it doesn't do
Yeah.
that to me.
No,
Interesting.
the little liquid gel caps do for me. So going into the jab, I got it, and then you got to wait 15 minutes, and then I started getting this wicked acid reflux, and I started coughing.
Oh no.
And you're sitting in a room with other people getting their jab, and they're looking at you like,
Oh
dude,
no,
did you get
that's the worst. No one can cough or sneeze anymore. Everyone thinks you're like Ebola. Like, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Terrible. So I'm very conscientious of when I cough. And the going joke in our house is whenever anybody coughs, it's don't cough your COVID on me.
Oh yeah, that's everyone. Everyone's saying that. I know. So, I got my first vaccine. I'm due for the second one this Wednesday. So let's see if I get sick. It's actually my nephew's graduation day.
Okay.
So hopefully I don't feel like shit. We'll see.
From high school?
Yeah, from high school.
How is that? How's that for the kids on your end?
Well, it's changed drastically. At first, they weren't having the high school graduations or college graduations, and some of them were postponed. Some of them, I saw one school did it in cars, like a drive-through. It was bizarre. Yeah. I don't know where that was, but I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, did that out here.
Yeah, actually at the arena at UM, they're using like their big arena. So I don't know if they're doing social distancing. Maybe the spacing of the seating will be spread out. They probably have to wear masks. Actually, here they changed the law where some places are requiring it, but a lot of places aren't. So I think it's up to the business if they're going to require the mask. So I'm testing the waters everywhere I go by not wearing it. I hate it, but I know it had its purpose, but I just hate
it. Well, apparently, if you've got your second one, you don't need to.
Interesting. So do you have to show your credentials?
That's a CDC thing. They just talked about last week or the week before? But
everything is changing like almost weekly now. We don't even know like what to follow, what not to follow, which is affecting the industry that I work in. I'm the director of onshore design and construction for a big cruise line.
Right. And
we haven't sailed in over a year. And so that means we've been just expending money, like just every day. Those ships that are on the ocean cost money, and all the people that were still on salary, like it's been, I don't know how they're all surviving. It's not like the airlines. The airlines got a buyout, or whatever it's called, is saving whatever. They got help from the government.
Right.
The cruise industry, the majority of the companies are based out of other countries. So like we're based out of the Bahamas. I forgot where. But so since we don't pay taxes in that sense, we don't get the help.
Wow.
So there's everything, yeah.
And so I think. Can they just park the boats and not do anything with them, or do the boats?
Yeah, so they do have to still go out for environmental purposes, and then they come back, and there's still gonna be some crew on board. So the captain still needs to be. There's certain things still need to run. So it's definitely at a decreased cost, but certain things still need to run, and they need to still get provisioning, and like all those people still need to eat and supplies, and so it's still a cost.
It's not like a plane; you can just park it,
right, and then walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's still people on them. From what I see, there's still. I don't know all the ins and outs of that portion of I guess the corporation that I'm in, because I'm on the design and construction. So we build things for them, but when it comes to operating the ships, I don't know too much about it. But I just know that there are people still on the ship. Not to mention they had to repatriate all of the crew. you know, so all those people, they had to find a way to send them back home. And it was very difficult at first. So they were on the ship for months at a time, waiting to just be able to go home.
Wow.
And I feel so bad for all of those, because really it's like, this is the industry they depend on. A lot of them are from the Philippines, and it's, you know, how do they make money all this time? I mean, everyone has just struggled with COVID, you know, all the restaurants.
Yeah, it's certainly affected a lot of a lot of industries.
Yeah,
a lot.
I'm really lucky that I didn't lose my job, and thank God, like, I knock on wood. I mean, that, you know, that somehow, and thank God, I guess it was because of this project that we're building. It had to get finished, so they still needed me. And I have a boss, that thank God, who has fought for her team to not be furloughed. So we're all very grateful.
Awesome. Are you ready for the question of questions, the massive question?
Yeah.
This is the massive question I've been waiting weeks to ask you.
Oh boy.
So, bodybuilding, architect, like full-time job, and artist. How do you do it? How do you do it? Like, where do you find time? And the reason I ask that is because, so like I said, my wife and I are in this apple ring competition, right? And one of the things you get rewards. So my goal is set to, or my move is set to 600. Hers is 450. So when I hit 1200, I get a reward of, you know, you hit 200%. And one of the medals was a 400% medal. So, which means I had to hit 2,400 calories that day, and I managed to do it, but it took me 5 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So, and you mentioned you do your cardio, you know, 45, leading up to a show. Some days it's 3 hours, right? You're either waking up ridiculously early, going to bed ridiculously late. You must have your gym equipment somewhere in your office.
Yeah. So
how do you do it?
I'll tell you how it's done. Okay. So, I mean, like I tell everyone, because everyone says, "Oh, I wish I had time to do what you do." It's like, you do. It's not that you have to create the time to do it. So,
yeah, exercise is all about making the time.
Exactly. Yeah. And how badly do you want it, right? So that's why doing a show, you have a deadline, so you have to make it happen no matter what. So I would say the schedule on your phone, like I have everything scheduled, like what I need to do down to the T. Yeah. Even like see my mom. If I don't put it down there, like it doesn't happen. So keeping it to your word and discipline. So you think I feel like waking up early to go do it? Like you don't. You just get up and do it. So on my busiest day, let's say this is like a month before a show where I have a lot of cardio to do, plus the lifting, plus the job, plus the dogs, plus maintaining a house, just all that stuff, right? So, and this is where I say there's no social life, right? Because the gym becomes your social life.
Yeah.
I don't wake up too ridiculously early, but I would say I would actually wake up early in order. Well, actually, you know what? Two things. There's pre-COVID and post-COVID. So let's pretend COVID's not happening. I'm not working from home, because working from home gives you a lot more liberty to squeeze in things. You could be doing laundry while you're on a conference call. Yep. I can literally be the stair climber listening to a conference call where I don't have to like really be too much of a participant on. I love working for that reason. I can get so much more done in one day. But let's say back to reality where everyone's in the office. I would obviously wake up early enough in order to get the first cardio session in. So I'm the quickest shower taker in the world. And you're right. I did have a stair climber at home, which makes it so much easier. You save the 20 minutes to the gym. Yeah. You save time packing a bag to shower at the gym and all that stuff. So now, though, I sold it because it didn't fit in this new little house that I have. So another option is going for a bike ride if the weather is nice. And being in Miami, it's hot as hell. You actually rather go early in the morning. So let's say I wake up early, go for a bike ride, come back, shower, go to work. I've been very lucky that I've had jobs where I could actually go to the gym at lunchtime. That makes it so much easier to use that hour. And I'll be honest, it might be an hour and 15 minutes. It might be an hour and a half. But I stay up late. I work late. I work on the weekends. they're getting their money's worth. If I am like in commute for those 15 minutes back and forth before or after the 1 hour workout, you know, I'm a better employee because I'm happier. I got it done. I'm not stressed out. I got the break and the adrenaline rush and like all of that going. I come back and I'm more productive. I'm sitting there at a desk all day. I'm miserable. I'm dying to get out. I'm done, you know? So working out at lunch makes it much easier. And then after, like, this is the one that I dread. It's after work. You think I want to go do another like session of cardio? No, but you just get it done. Don't go home and get comfortable. If you go home, you're screwed. Like, you have to straight to go do it right after work.
Sit down. You're not getting up.
Yeah, get it done and then come back. And then you can wind down, take a shower, pack your meals for the next day, or cook, whatever you have to do. Spend time with the dogs. And honestly, it's totally doable. I mean, what's hard is if you had an event to go to, like if I had to do all of that, plus go social, like forget it. I just don't have the desire.
So what time are you waking up at? Like, is it a 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock? 4 o'clock?
So it depends because I'm trying to remember because now I'm in the off season, so I can wake up a little bit later. I don't really have to worry about doing that cardio in the morning. I was trying to catch it at right at sunrise. So it depends on when the sun was rising because remember I didn't have to go to the office.
Right.
So let's say the sun was rising at 7. As long as I was up at like 6:30, got dressed, maybe had like a quick little protein shake or something like an apple, something in my stomach, so I wouldn't be starving unless I was doing it fasted.
Yeah.
And then go for like an hour, come back. That still actually would give me, let's say if I left at 7, if I have to be at work by 9, that's still enough time. Unless you have a long commute. You know, like I've been lucky that I live close to where I work. It might be 30 minutes tops, maybe 40 if it was horrible traffic.
Right.
But so yeah, I mean it's totally doable. Yeah.
And then what time would you go to bed at?
Well, before the CPAP machine, I was dead tired. By 10, I was in bed. By 9, I wanted to go to bed. Now it's like midnight and I'm still up doing things. It's crazy. So I'm really curious to see because and the reason why is because I'm getting like those 8 hours of sleep, or even if it's, let's say I go to bed at 11 and I wake up at 7, you know, that's still that's a perfect amount of sleep.
That's 8.
Before I was going to bed like at 10, you know, in the off season, let's say I woke up at 9, like I just was so exhausted. So now I wake up, I'm ready to go. So I don't know. I mean, all I can say is before I was trying to go to bed as early as possible in order to get enough sleep. And even though it never felt like enough. So as long as you get 8 hours, 7 hours minimum, I think that's a good amount, which I know a lot of people don't, but you know, if you can function on it, good for you.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how other people do it. And it's really interesting to know how you do, because I know for myself, I have to wake up, and I call it getting with the program, right? So I got to wake up, I got to get with the program. So I chug my liter of water, make myself a cup of coffee, take my supplements, which right now is just an L-carnitine supplement. And then I do my cardio. Sometimes that takes me anywhere between an hour to 2 hours just to get with the program. And it really, I'm just sitting there just trying to get my brain going.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, now when I'm working from home, it's about a good hour from the time I get up. I just like, you know, make breakfast. I do a little shake as well, and then get started. It's about an hour. Or if I'm getting ready to go someplace, like in the morning, it's usually I give myself an hour because I have to feed the dogs, pick up the wee pads, get my stuff ready.
Pick up the what pads?
Dressed. The wee pads for the dogs, like where they poop and pee on.
Oh, are they puppies?
Pad.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're not puppies. They're just not well trained.
How old are your dogs?
10 years old.
They're 10 years old and they're on pee pads?
Yes. I have 2 10-year-olds. My brother has, I want to say, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they all piss shit all over the place. It's horrible.
Great.
I'm not good at training dogs. That's one thing I realized. Just not good at it. Nope. I suck. I give in too easily.
Do you not bring the pad closer to the door?
So
I'm sorry, we're totally going off topic, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, no. I have done that. It's like some of them are just hard-headed. The dachshund is, I can't let him stay in my room. He will pee on my bed every freaking time. In New York City, I had a studio. I had to buy a Murphy bed. Otherwise, he would pee on my bed. So I literally bought a whole different type of bed system because he would pee on it. The min pin will always go outside. He's actually really good. So I just have to let him out enough times.
Yeah.
But my brother's dogs, which he says my dogs were the bad influence, no. His dogs have always peed all over the place also, and they miss the pad. So Chewy is a big bulldog, and it's like a freaking lake. And when she poops, it's like elephant poop or like the horse poop that stinks up the whole house. Thanks to COVID, I still can't smell it. So I will tell you this. In the smaller home, they have done it less because I'm letting them out more often.
Yeah.
In the 5-bedroom home that we had, they just had so many nooks and crannies to go. They would just go whenever they wanted. I don't know. So my point is they're getting better at it. And I'm trying to make sure I let them out more often so they do it outside. But the hot dogs, forget about it. You let them out, they come back in, they pee inside. They're just so stubborn. It's a hot dog thing.
Must be. I had a min pin who would we'd let him out, and then he would come back in, and he would almost like poop in the house in front of you and look at you while he was doing it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That little bastard Zeus.
Yeah, they're little jerks. They're like, yep, you're gonna pick it up too, aren't you?
Yeah. And when we got him, I had a wicked shoe collection. He chewed through my shoes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've got lots of shoes.
When they were puppies, I lost a lot of shoes when they were puppies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, actually, my min pin, he is mischievous. He will get any garbage. If you leave a little garbage anywhere or your food out, forget it. Like if you can reach them, he will eat the food. They are like, it's like a bottomless pit. He won't stop eating.
Yep.
And then I had a huge scare once. So on my night table, I used to put like my morning cocktail of supplements, right? Yep. So I had like a fat burner there because it gave me energy, and I really needed it just to function because it wasn't using the CPAP before. So I had that, maybe like L-carnitine. I'm trying to think what else I had in there. At the time, I was dealing with a lot of pain, so I put in Aleve, a gel, what's called gel tablet, Aleve, and that must have been what caught his attention. Because actually, I'll take it back. That time I wasn't using a fat burner; I had run out. It was caffeine pills, so I knew exactly how much was in the caffeine pill, and I had. At the time, I was, you're gonna think I'm crazy. This is how exhausted I was. I had 3 pills there. So that was 600 milligrams of caffeine. That's how much I need to function.
Yeah,
not wake up, and I don't need it anymore. But before I needed that much. He's a 10-pound dog. And guess what he did? He ate all of it.
Oh,
he would have. So thank God I noticed because it was nighttime. I had just put it there for the next morning. And it's like 10 o'clock at night, and he's pew, 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 pew. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he was going like insane. And then I went to go grab him. He was on his bed. And he was like, like schizo. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then on this bed, I saw one of the capsules like open and the powder everywhere. Oh. And then I looked at my night table and I was like, and that's when I realized, oh my God, like how much did he have? So I had to rush him to the hospital, the vet hospital. They kept him for like 3 days because I was terrified of the caffeine. That would have definitely killed him. But whatever they did, they flushed out his system so that it wouldn't kill him because you're going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
It was the gel to the whatever it's called, the Advil or the Aleve is what they were more worried about because that can cause like I guess kidney failure for them. So they kept doing blood work every day to make sure his kidney was okay or his liver, whatever it is. And he was okay, thankfully, but it was the biggest scare and a learning lesson. I'm always telling people, leave your medicine anywhere near your dog. Like they will eat it. You don't think they want it. They might have a flavor. I think it was the gelatin that caught his attention. It's like a greasy thing. Otherwise, he had never gone for it before. And that's what I think. So thankfully, I mean, he's like a cat. He has 9 lives. He keeps screwing up. Things don't happen to him, thank God.
It's funny you mentioned that because Zeus was the exact same way. We would even as he got older, he would go through the garbage.
Oh yeah, you cannot leave like a garbage bag.
Yeah, I don't know how he would. Oh yeah, my wife would get Laura would get the garbage ready and just have it sitting, and he would tear through it.
1 second.
Oh yeah.
That would happen to us so many times. We would just go to the other room for a second, come back, and then there's garbage everywhere. And I'm like, Papa.
Did you? One year, my mom gave us chocolates.
Oh no!
And for Christmas, and he went through it. He ate all the chocolates, and I forget what kind they were. I read somewhere that dogs shouldn't have dark chocolate.
Yes, it's the cocoa in the chocolate that's toxic because it has caffeine.
Right. Okay. So we had to take him to the vet.
By the way. Oh no! He was going to pump his stomach and all that.
Yeah. That
happened to me. I used to travel to Miami a lot to see my parents. and my friend would stay at the house and watch the dogs. And it happened to her. Actually, no, I think this time she took them with her because it was Christmas and she wanted to be with her family. So she just took the boys with her. And she didn't tell me that day, but the next day, because she didn't want me to get freaked out, it turns out that she told me that Pumper had eaten a whole bag of chocolate. Same thing. It was like Christmas, you know, the bag. Thankfully, it wasn't dark chocolate. So he didn't get too sick or anything, or wasn't that deadly. But that's how I learned it's the dark chocolate that's what's dangerous. There's a lot of toxic for dogs that people have no clue, like onions, raisins,
Yes,
garlic.
yep.
Trying to think what else, but it's usually larger quantities.
I'll always have pugs from now on.
Pugs. My brother had a little pug named Stella. They're the cute.
Yeah, no, my little black pug Buddha is 11 or 12. He's still going into his old age now. We've discovered he likes blueberries and watermelon.
Oh, that's nice. That's good for them. Yeah.
Yeah, he never got into people food, but now every so often is like I'm giving him a little something, right? Like maybe a little piece of steak but you know, so he enjoys that, but he's still not food driven. So
no. It's hard to train him.
Yeah, no, he's never been human food driven. The doggy treat stuff, okay, but not like Zeus at all, where if you left your plate on the ottoman, Zeus would go for it.
Yeah.
With Buddha, I'm good. I'm safe. My food is still going to be there.
It's got to be a Minpin thing.
Yeah, must be. Where are you finding? Do you have any new art that you're working on presently? Is it like the old stuff, by the way? I shouldn't say old stuff, but
every project, no, it's pretty old. I'll be honest. I stopped making art for a while for a few reasons. First, it was I got a little not cynical. What's the word I'm looking for? Resentful? No, I don't know. I was getting frustrated because I was making all this art and it wasn't really going anywhere. And a lot of the art I make, like I have to invest money into it. Like it's a project, right? And I was doing it because I love it, but it's also it is time consuming. So, and I realized I'm very all or nothing. I'm a very all or nothing person. So
I get that.
So my work took a lot of my time, and then throw in bodybuilding, forget it. Like it sucked up all of my time. Now I'm in a place in my life where I'm realizing, okay, if I die tomorrow, that's the one thing I regret. I mean, I regret a couple things, but it's like that I didn't follow what I call my true passion. I don't consider bodybuilding my true passion. I consider it something I do for therapy, and something I enjoy, and it's a challenge. I'm very challenge driven. My career is also satisfying, but and I always wondered, like, if I was only doing art, how would I feel if I didn't have the career side? I don't think I need it. I think it is rewarding in its own way. So the trick now is I want to be able to do all three. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be bodybuilding forever. So I feel like next year might be my last season competing. We'll see, but I'll still be going to the gym. It just won't be 20 weeks of sacrifice getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. But so to answer your question, yes, I actually rented a little studio. It's actually a storage space that I was creating art in. But now that I got this place, I moved all the things out of there, moved it here because I don't need the storage space anymore. This is 3 bedrooms, so I have plenty of space.
Right.
And it's going to be so much easier just to be able to do it when I come home from work, or do that on the weekends or on the days that I have off from the gym, or instead of watching Netflix, like create my work. That it's going to be so much more rewarding for myself. So yes, I started working on 2 installation pieces using broken glass, ironically from the construction site that I am working on. One of the contractors, by mistake, the lift hit the curtain wall. So like the grand lobby, they have these panes of glass, and it's actually beautiful glass. When it shatters, it has like almost rainbow color to it because it had a film to it.
Oh, cool.
So it's gorgeous. And I'm using that to clad all of these nursery objects. So it's pretty much a play on almost where I am in my life right now. And the fact that, like, your parents, their entire life, they're raising you, trying to shelter you, protect you from getting hurt.
Yep.
And then now it's like when they pass, or sometimes even as you're aging, there are moments where they do cause you pain. They do hurt you with things they say or do. And then now that my mom is so sick, it's like not meaning to, there's all this pain associated with it. So like she spent her entire life trying to shelter me from getting hurt, but now in her almost passing, or in her late stages of life, it's caused so much pain to the rest of the family. Obviously, it's not her fault. It's life. It's a cycle of life.
Yeah.
So it's a whole play on that, because it's basically a rocking horse cladded in this beautiful glass, a crib, a rocking chair, like what is it called, a high chair. So all of these things that you would find in a nursery or a place that has a newborn is cladded in all this glass. So you would never dare put your child in these objects. And then on top of that, I'm 40 now, and I always thought I would be a mom. And I'm not the kind of person that's always like the baby itch, where I've wanted to have a baby by myself. I want to have a family. So unfortunately, I haven't found like the special one, which I know in the end of the day, you probably end up in divorce anyways, and you probably end up raising the baby by yourself. But yeah, I don't want to do it alone. So I mean, like family's just like, oh, why don't you just get in vitro, or why don't you just get someone to knock you up, or why don't you just, I mean, I could adopt. It might end up to that point if physically I can't anymore, because every year chances are I won't be able to. So yeah, I'm dealing with that now. It's like, am I going to have a child? So I don't know. Only time will tell. Maybe I'll meet Mr. Right this year.
You never know. There's one thing you never know, is that you never know. Right.
Yeah.
I think you should never be looking. I think it should happen. It should just happen. And that's just me being a Lysandrist.
No, I'm the same way. And I try the whole internet dating app thing. And I guess it's interesting to talk about, especially with bodybuilding. So I am well aware that as I got more muscular, the window of men who are attracted to this has gotten smaller. So in my 20s and early 30s, I was a typical Cuban shaped girly girl, feminine, like, had that life.
Sure.
Confident enough to know that the look I have now, not everyone likes. So now that I am muscular, it's even harder to find a guy. I've always been somewhat intimidating, even though I consider myself to be very approachable and very nice. But I guess I could have a resting bitch face, or just, I don't know, my personality could, some people, maybe it's too much for them, or they just want a puppet that will follow what they say. I don't know.
Do you think it's because you're so in one of our talks, we touched on this a little bit, and I was like, I started thinking it was because maybe you're intellectually superior.
I would like to think that. I mean, if that's the reason why, that's great. And you know what? Even better, because I want someone who's not intimidated by that, or just like, I want someone who's going to like my body type or like me for who I am, and not just the superficial part. So yeah, it could be that. I don't know. My problem now is with this age, they're either all married or have a serious relationship.
Yeah.
So anytime I do find myself somewhat interested in a guy, I'm like, oh, of course they're married. Hasn't stopped me in the past, I will be honest. However, I'm trying not to do that ever again.
Right.
My lesson. So yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time before they get divorced. So I'm counting on that. There'll be a new flood of available men soon.
I don't know.
Statistically, not wishing it upon anyone, but it's possible.
Are you finding there, and this is why I'm wondering it. So I reached out to a lot of IFBB female pros, and I was starting to wonder if maybe they thought I was being some sort of freak that just wanted to meet some muscle chick, right? And
yeah,
because I know that's a big fetish, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Are you finding there are guys that are like?
Yes. So I was going to bring that, and I almost forgot to. So
I'll buy you dinner, but you got to do a bicep pose for me.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. So
that happens.
You definitely have to weed out the muscle worshipers. It's like, I didn't know this existed either until I got muscular. And thanks to Instagram, you see how many of them are there. So the other day I got someone that says, send me a video of my feet. Some people want videos of my feet. It's the weirdest thing. A lot of them want you to flex, or like, there's what's it called? Not muscle worship, but there's another, I forgot there's a word for it, where basically you dominate the man. So it's not just being a dominatrix, but like you take over the man, and like they want their head crushed with your thighs.
Oh, yeah. Like where you're wrestling them?
Yes, a lot of weird shit. And number one, I'm not someone that really enjoys flexing. So I find it kind of cheesy, and I always get uncomfortable. So when someone's like, oh, show me a bicep, I'm like, oh. And like, I don't know why it's just weird for me, probably because it's just, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, so, it's just not your thing.
Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah. And then but yeah, people will they call it sessions. That's what it's called. So they want, it'll be a, webcam thing like this and it's not like you're not naked, you're wearing clothes, but there's something about it. Like I even thought, I was like, well, if I ever if things get rough and I lose my job, like I know what I can do as a backup plan. Like you can make a lot of easy, quick money doing this. But it just felt so degrading, and my morals wouldn't let me do it. And no offense to anyone who does it. Yeah. I just can't do it. And I feel like it's rooted in it's something that my father wouldn't be proud of. So I always have to think that would my father be proud? And even actually, it's funny I say it now, because if my father was alive, I feel like his living self would not approve of my bodybuilding. He would hate the fact that I look like a man. He would not be into this. But I feel like his spirit is more open-minded and understands why I'm in it, understands it's a chapter in my life, not gonna be doing it forever, and understands that, there are rewards that come along with it. So long story short, yes, there's a lot of weirdos out there. I get messages all the time. Just the other day, I got an email saying, willing to meet in person, gift each meet. And I'm like, what is he going to gift me? Is it going to be jewelry, electronics, shoes? What's going to be the gift each meet? I should actually entertain it just to kind of fuck with his head to see what this guy is willing to offer. So yeah, people approach you with a lot of weird requests, and I just either block, or actually usually screenshot it and share it because it's amusing to everyone.
Because that shit's funny. Because that shit is funny.
It's really funny. It's really funny. But yeah, I mean, even now it's funny. I always wonder, the guys who are attracted to a muscular woman, some of them can seem a little gay too. So it's
I can see that.
Are they attracted to me because I am more manly? So it's in other words, it's very difficult to date as a bodybuilder. Very, very difficult to date.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
when I first started dancing, and it's funny that we're talking about this because I was just talking to my friend the other day. His name's Patrick, and I said, "Do you remember that? Did you know that you gave me the best piece of advice that I've ever gotten in my life?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Shit,
you said to Patrick. Patrick says to you.
Yeah, Patrick said this to me, and we're still friends. 20 years going strong to this day. I mean, awesome. It's not an everyday hang out and smoke weed like we used to. We're both older now." Yeah. And he goes, "Well, what was it? Fuck, 20 years ago. I don't remember that." And I said, "Dude, when I started dancing, you said, and I found out we had to work in gay bars. You said that there are going to be men that are going to offer to pay me a lot of money to jerk on camera. And you said, don't do it." And at the time, I was early 20s. My son was 3-4 years old at the time. And I was like, "Well, how much are they going to pay me?" And he said it was $500 to $1,000. I was like, $1,000? Shit, I'm gonna do it anyways, right? I might as well get paid for it.
Might as well get paid for it, right?
Yeah, might as well get paid for it. And he goes, "No, don't do it. I'll tell you why. Don't you have a son?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What if your son saw it? And this internet thing is getting bigger. What if it ends up on the internet?" And I was like, "Yeah, good point." And I never did. And he laughed his ass off. He laughed his ass off, but that it just goes to show that how sketchy any sort of body business is, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Where somebody wants to pay you to see your body or anything to do with your body, just how sketchy that really is.
Totally. And I know some people who have the OnlyFans now. That's a very popular thing. It's now everyone can be their own personal porn star.
Yeah.
And a lot of these women have children, and I'm wondering how do they explain this to the children later? I'm sure they're probably keeping it very private or not letting them see it, but I feel like it all comes out anyways,
Yeah.
So
how do you justify it? How do you justify it to your kids later on? Kind of thing, right? Or maybe some people are just well, fuck it. I'm gonna live my life. And if my kids
they don't care,
whatever, I'll deal with it later. I guess everybody is different that way. Right. Me personally, I don't know if I'd want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Especially at this age in my life.
really, really rough, where like you need to put food in your mouth or pay for the roof over your head, then maybe, right? But even then, still, there's probably a better solution.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree. So,
and also, if I'm going to make a lot of money, I want to do it with something I'm proud of. And some women are just proud to the act of making money. They're proud of. For me, I've always wanted to be successful, not based off like the money I'm making, but from what I'm creating or doing. So
yeah. With regards to your art, have you explored? I know the NFT thing is getting big. Have you looked into that at all?
So a little bit, and it definitely makes sense for the kind of work that I do because, like I was telling you the piece about the banana, right? Did I tell you about that?
Yes, the guys with the banana and the duct tape.
Exactly. So, you're not selling, obviously that banana is going to rot. So you're not selling that piece of work. You're selling what was it called again? I forgot the name of it.
Like license?
Certificate of authenticity.
Right.
And so you're selling that. And sometimes also there are instructions to the piece. So a lot of installation artists, they create the work.
Yeah.
They have instructions on how to assemble it. And then that's given to the person with the instructions and the pieces that assemble it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you can't reassemble, then it has to have instructions on how to recreate that thing, whether it's banana or something else.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, but it makes sense, especially in today's economy, with how they're creating this whole Bitcoin thing and the whole other things that have tangible worth. So it's definitely, I think, something that my work would be very perfect for, as well as public art. So there's a lot of commissions. Every time you make a public architecture, a building, a construction project, a percentage of it, depending on the county that you're in, has to be applied towards art. So just in our building alone, we have like $3 million worth of art, and there's 5 artists. So just do the math. Like they're getting a lot of money for this. The trick is just to get selected. So you got to keep applying and hoping that they select you, and then you get this commission piece. And then the more you're out there, the more you see you, the more your worth goes up. So it's just, I got to keep trying to get them, and rejection is part of the game. You just got to keep knocking until the right door opens up.
Well, since you and I were talking about art, like in our previous conversations, it actually got me looking into it. And there's some things that I found really interesting about it. Like you can make, you do painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so you can, let's use a painting, for example. You can create the painting, and then I think you turn it into an NFT, and the original you either shred or you can keep it.
Okay.
I can't wrap my head around how you would take the original and not turn it into another one. I'm having a little trouble with that. Like, I understand the whole cryptocurrency thing. I did a little bit of the trading a little while ago. I don't know. I'm contemplating just trying to make something myself and playing with it, and let's see if it sells. Just try it.
Yeah. Well, art has always been testing the boundaries. So, like even back in the day, painting became from very realistic to then very abstract. Sculptures then was like Duchamp put literally a urinal on a pedestal and then called it art. So it was testing the boundaries of what can be considered art. And artists continue to do that today. I was telling you the story where a piece of work was being shredded at an auction. Everyone, bet for like a certain amount. Let's say the person, I forgot how much he bought it for. Let's say it was like $2 million or something. And then the artist had pre-planned that the piece was going to actually shred pieces. So in art, you can make a traditional art and be happy with that. But I feel like the art industry, they're always trying to test the boundaries and push it and transform it. So the whole certificate of authenticity, I think, is a big play on that as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm still, do you mind me asking how many days or how many hours a day do you work?
Well, it's a lot. I'm always working. So it's very random. It's hard to explain. When we go to the office, it's going to be 9 to 5. Right. So that's like the bare minimum. But I'm constantly, like right now, someone from work had texted me, and same thing yesterday, they needed a floor plan. So it's hit or miss. And then things are just urgent. So there'll be days where I am nonstop on a phone call, in a meeting, sending out emails, doing reports, doing this or that. And then there might be some days that are a bit slower. And there's sometimes it's like the weekend and I'm actually bored. So I'm like, oh, well, let me just catch up on some emails. So, I mean, I try to make sure I don't work too much and I enjoy life and have time for all these other things, but it's really hard to give an actual hour value.
Right.
You know, I feel like I'm always working on something. Like when it's work, meaning my paycheck work, you know, that's going to be a minimum of 9 to 5, but then I'm always working on some type of project after. So I'm always working, really. Really, unless I'm like, you know, choosing to check out and watch some TV.
Gotcha, which doesn't sound like it happens too often.
Well, something I've learned to do is in my 20s, I never knew how to rest. In my 30s, same thing. But when I started competing, I realized, oh, I better rest because I'm going to be burnt out. Yeah. So I learned that I needed to rest. So competing has actually taught me that resting is important and checking out is important and like mental health and like having a day off and like forcing yourself. So I started off by forcing myself to just veg and enjoy the movie. But I found myself that I'm still always looking at my phone, looking at my emails. So like I literally have to make myself not have the laptop or the phone nearby. So I try every night to like check out for at least an hour or two at the end. And it's a good way to wind down anyway.
Yeah, you definitely have to disconnect.
Yeah.
Well, I started doing that. Disconnecting super important. Like I take the watch off, I put the phone in the other room, and I just veg.
Yeah. And people feel guilty about it, but it's like, no, you kind of need that downtime.
No,
you know, mentally, physically.
Well, especially with working from home now, I think I think employers are almost taking advantage. The fact that
they think you're always available, and totally.
Yeah, working too much certainly shortens your lifespan. Certainly does, and I think they prove
unless you're enjoying what you're doing. You know,
that's totally different then.
Yeah, so like when I'm working on my art, I don't really consider it work.
No, that's more like therapy for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How long was the art program alone?
That it's a 2-year program. I mean, the bachelor was 4 years, and then the master's a 2-year program.
And if art is subjective, why do you need to be taught on it?
So, good question. In the bachelor program, you're taught skills. So you're going to have a drawing class, you're going to have a painting class, you're going to have ceramics, or a variety of different mediums. And you're learning and you're honing in on your skills. In the master's program, you already have your skills built, and it's more about developing your work and understanding how you can make a strong body of work. So yeah, it's how do they teach it? I mean, you're also taking like theory classes and you're learning about other artists. And so it's more in depth than people think. It's not just creating something, but it's, I mean, it's about developing your work. And then they even have a PhD program, some universities. I mean, I would love to do that, but then at the same time, like, do I want to do more homework? Like, I think I'm done doing homework.
Really? I could see you doing that just based on our talk.
I know. So I'm torn. We'll see.
So if you got a PhD, you could be Dr. Caridad.
I could be doctor. Exactly. We'll see. Ooh. Maybe that's the next chapter of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Doctor of Art?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we'll wind it down. Thank you for meeting me. I appreciate it.
I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. What I plan on doing is a follow-up. I'd like to do them in person, which is why I'm almost sort of rushing to get my vaccines, because I have a feeling these vaccine passports are going to be necessary, especially to cross into the States. I'm all the way up in Canada. So if I can make it down to Miami, that would be cool.
You would love it. I was telling you, you'll love it down here.
Dude, well, you just said how hot it gets, right? So the best time to work out is the early morning. I hate the cold. I love the heat.
Yeah. You'll love it. Or sunset. Sunset's also, I like sunset also.
So it gets to -30 here. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's fucking cold. It's
super cold. Yeah. It's super cold. No, here the coldest it'll ever get. I mean, and it's maybe like one day of the year, maybe the 40s Fahrenheit, never below freezing. In Florida, or at least Miami, never below freezing.
Do you have, are you around?
It's usually the 70s. I would say the 70s or 60s is our winter, and that's like literally maybe 4 weeks. and then the rest it's hotter than hell.
Are you around alligators and stuff?
No, there are a lot of iguanas. There could be raccoons and possums and stuff like that. Depends on where you live. My old house, we had a little bit of everything. Big iguanas, but not alligators.
Like a wild iguana? Just.
Oh yeah. We have an overpopulation of iguanas.
Get the fuck out.
My neighbor was actually shooting them, and I was so pissed. Actually, my brother's dog, Chewy, ate one. Well, she didn't eat the whole thing, but I found her with one in her mouth, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I thought she was gonna die because I Googled it, and apparently she's okay. But yeah, so we have a lot of, and they get big. They're like huge. They're
I
small,
didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of iguanas. Yeah, actually, the waterway that I lived on, it's brackish water, and they said, I don't know if it's crocodiles or alligators. I get them confused. But it was one of those two. And my sister said she saw one in the backyard in the water. I luckily never saw one again. So there could be, but it's not like infestation of them. Some areas of Florida do have them, just not where I've personally lived.
Do they attack?
They could. I mean,
They
you see it in like Disney World. It killed a little boy. Like they had a sign that says like beware of alligators, and this poor mom, I guess, let her child get too close, and they like killed the child. It's horrendous. Yeah.
No.
So if you see a sign that says beware, like get the fuck out of there. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. But no, it doesn't happen. Like it's a very urban area where we're at. That's gonna happen more where there's like a big lake or some type of like waterway where they're gonna have it, or if you're like in the where's it called? Not Sawgrass, but there's a word for it. I forgot what that area is called. It's like a swamp area in South Florida. I can't remember the name of it right now. But that area has tons of them, but most people don't live up there. Yeah.
Wow, I learned something new today. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I will
There's peacocks too, by the way.
Oh, peacocks are cool.
Yeah, peacocks are very cool. I actually think my dad is reappearing as a peacock just to mess with me.
It's possible.
Yeah, because by my mom's, we had to move her into an assisted living facility because her dementia got really bad. It's like a little house. And there was like 11 peacocks outside, and I thought nothing of it. I was like, okay, this area has peacocks. And then like 2 weeks later, we found one peacock in our backyard. And out of 26 years that we lived there were never any peacocks. And I was talking a lot to my dad, like spiritually during this whole process, dealing with my mom, like moving her out of her home was really hard for all of us. Like knowing that she's getting worse and her time is coming. That was really, really hard for everyone to cope with. So I feel like that was him saying like, don't worry, I'm with you with this, and she's not alone. Like I'm waiting for her. So that's what that meant to me. And then I move into this house. We sell the house. I move into this house, and there's one peacock in my backyard, and there's no peacocks in this area. I was just like, are you kidding me?
And does it stay there?
It was just there hanging out for a little bit, and they left, but it was there for that, a few hours. And then the other day we passed by the old house to check the mailbox to see if we had any mail. The new people haven't moved in yet. So like we ran over there, grabbed from the mailbox. And then what did I see on the floor right by the mailbox? It was, and I have it saved here. I don't know if you can see it. There in here is the peacock feather.
Oh, cool.
It's not the blue part, it's the brown part.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I came just to check the mail, and like dad's again saying like, hey, don't forget, I'm still with you. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We'll see what happens.
You had a really close connection with your dad.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, good for you. That's important. I got good connections with my daughters too.
Yeah, family's everything. I really always tell people that. At least for me, I'm lucky that I have a family that I can say that about.
Yeah, absolutely. Girls gave me tattoos last night. They got little tattoo markers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they came off, and my youngest one wrote, my oldest one wrote, Ella is the best, because she was everywhere. She gets that little conceited side for me. I used to be like that years ago.
I love it.
Anymore. And the one wrote, my dad rocks on the other one.
Aww. That's so cute.
I'm blessed. I got awesome daughters. What can I say?
I love it.
Cari, it was super awesome to meet you. I appreciate your time. I look forward to talking to you again. Let's keep in touch.
Awesome. Definitely.
For sure. Thank you again for your time, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to hit stop now.
Talk to you next